Do you know what is fancy?
Fancy feast cat food?
Well, yes. But do you know what is...
Supposedly, anyway.
But do you know what is even fancier?
Paintings.
Yes. Art. Paintings. And honestly, I mean, my mom's an artist, and she draws a lot. She has a lot of different disciplines that she follows, and I really wish my mom would paint more, because I miss seeing her paint, because it was fun watching her come up with something and then watching it come together piece by piece, and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. But yeah, anyway, Internet Historian is back, but with his incognito mode channel, and now we are going even fancier with paintings. So I guess, I don't know. Are you ready to get even fancier? Let's get into it. Here we go.
NordVPN isn't like the other girls. Hello, incognito mode videos now. Alright, so the schedule for this mini-series goes like this. We did the main channel on theater, then an incognito mode on painting, which is this. Then there's a main channel on wine, and then an incognito mode on a bunch of stories around wine. And there's a main channel on things that people wear. There's a main channel on luxury goods, and then we round the whole thing off with 2 more incognito modes.
Dear God.
Fair enough.
Making up for lost time, eh, Internet Historian?
That sounds extra fancy to me.
Sounds amazing.
And then I go back into cryostasis. This whole section is on the basics of painting. We were a little bit worried to show it because we kind of felt like this will split the audience. Not because it's political or anything, but because it's so basic. So someone who already knows something about art would be like, yeah, of course, why are you telling me this? But for someone like me, who knows practically zero about
Snack.
Oh. Jesus.
art, I found it really interesting, and I thought, why the heck haven't I been told this before, right? So, first section.
Right, quiet on the set.
Basics of painting.
Action!
The arts. The arts.
Arts.
Do not put an F in front of that. Worst mistake I ever made in my life. Alright, first, some things that'll make you go, yeah, and, or, oh, right. So look at this colorful goo. Paint. Delicious in
That
both
was
jam
nacho cheese.
and chip form. But its raw components are just 2 essential things. An undissolving pigment and a medium. Now, pigments are basically just colorful dust, and the medium is the liquidy thing that the dust hangs out in. Now, the liquid determines what type of paint you have. Pigment plus water equals watercolors. Pigment plus glue equals acrylics. Pigment plus oil equals oil paints. So simple. And pigment plus, moving on. Now, the pigment does not dissolve into the medium. Instead, it's just kind of suspended in it. When the pigment does dissolve into a medium, that's a dye. So that's the basic difference. Now,
Okay.
you have to transfer the paint onto the canvas. To do that, we need to talk tools. Well, first, you can just use your fingers. It was good enough for the cavemen, and it's good enough for your mom. So it's good enough for us. Then we tried brushes. Now here is the anatomy of a brush. You've got the handle, the bristles, the ferrule, and the crimp. Now the bristles are the most important bit. First we were just using mangled up reeds called fronds, but they got really good.
Franz. I heard that. They played like a distorted version of Friends. Sorry.
Once we started using animal hair. Have a look at some of the animals we used. Boar, taken from the neck or the back of the pig. That is the kind of brush that Van Gogh used. and it's still the gold standard for today. A goat brush. It's good, but it's not the goat. Lacks some spring, so it's mostly used for calligraphy. Badger. Now that's actually mostly used for shaving, not painting at all.
Badger. I heard of a badger brush for paint because I remembered I was getting a fancy shave one time at an old school barber, and I heard him call the thing. He's like, hey man, you gone out and bought them new badger brushes yet? I was just like, badger brush? What's a badger brush? He's like, well, this is a badger brush. I'm like, oh, is yours going bad? He's like, yeah, it's cracked around the seam here, and it like wobbles around whenever I'm like stirring it in the pot. And I'm like, oh, well, I was gonna say, is like, I didn't know that was called a badger brush. He's like, pretty cool, huh? He's like, all right, lean back. I'm like, all right. Smooth shave, by the way. Like, have you ever had your face hand shaven by someone else?
Not with like a straight razor.
It was. You want to talk about like my face was on a cloud. Like guy had never shaved my face before. No nicks, no bumps. Everything was perfect. It was a work of art.
Horse, raccoon, and wolf, also not great quality. But what's the worst quality of all? You know, the gutter oil of
Human?
the brush world. Well, the worst quality is camel hair brushes, and they're mostly sold as arts and crafts brushes for kids. But the weird thing is, camel hair is so low quality that it's not even used in brushes at all. Huh? Yes, so-called camel hair brushes are actually made from
I saw, yeah, Camel cigarettes.
cats and rabbits and squirrels.
I've seen that interaction.
Man, fuck that
person.
squirrel.
But that makes people kind of sad.
Baldur's
So they
Gate
changed the
3.
name to a much less cute animal, and also one that's kind of exotic, so you wouldn't question it. Now, what's the best brush of all? What is the S tier of brushes? Those are
Charlie.
made from sable.
Oh my god, this, of course. 10 out of 10.
Now, sable is a type of weasel. These are hunted for their fur for clothing.
No, Chris Kyle, don't.
It's him.
But when they catch them to make clothes, they actually only want the body for the clothes, and so they discard the tail altogether. But those tails have the best hair for paintbrushes, and so they are snatched up by the brush makers. Now, the hair is special because it has an interlocking scales that vastly increases the surface area, but it also holds strong in the long term. Firm and bouncy, but also soft.
It's smooth, it bounces, it moves. Only with new Tresemme Keratin Smooth.
And they sell for upwards of $300.
What?
Damn.
I ain't paying $350 for no damn paintbrush. That paintbrush better have lips and suck and fuck me if I'm paying $350. What?
Concerns me because he pays me $1,400 a month.
Well, the thing is, you actually deliver what I pay you
not
for.
Sucking and fucking.
Absolutely not.
No. Nothing even close
Why'd
to
you
that.
make it weird, dude?
It's just, I don't know. Yeah, my mind is weird.
$1 a brush.
Damn brushes.
Alright, here's a top 10 list, sort of maybe Watch Mojo style, of the most famous paintings, and just a few interesting things about them that you may not know.
Okay, I probably could have made it less weird by just being like, could edit videos for you. But, yeah.
Pop quiz, sports shoe wearer. Look at this painting. What does it make you
This
feel?
bitch empty.
That's a Pollock. Jackson
Too
Pollock.
late. Or if you answered in time, wrong answer. Happy, sad. I bet those are the only two emotions you even know. The correct answer is shame.
Dirt.
It froze.
Damn it, you son of a bitch. Yep, internet went out. Hold on, everyone. Internet, why? Why you do this? We were having fun. Oh, it's back, I think. Yeah, let's...
Interesting things about them.
Here we go. Okay.
You answered in time. Wrong answer. Happy, sad. I bet those are the only two emotions you even know.
Incorrect.
The correct answer
All
is
men
shame,
have three emotions.
Because you are
What are...
Happy, sad, angry. What about horny?
Embarrassing.
It's just happy and angry at the same time. Happy you got a boner, angry you don't got no place to put it. It's a Chris Porter joke. Can't take credit for that. Chris Porter's the man. If you haven't listened to his stand-up comedy, go check him out sometime.
I thought it would be all three at once because, you know...
You go through all three at once really quickly when watching your favorite sports team. It's like really, really quickly. It's like all of a sudden they just lose the game and it's like, what happened? It's okay. It's okay. We played a good season. You know, we'll get them next time. Fuck!
Ow, my ear.
yourself. You know nothing about the arts. So it is time to look at the best paintings to ever exist. And let's begin with the most obscure of them all. Whoever this is.
Actually, I think it says happy, angry, and confused. It's the three emotions he talks about.
Oh. I was gonna say, who's this bitch? The Mona Lisa. Let's go.
The Mona Lisa. Now, I thought it went first name Mona, last name Lisa. Check it out. But turns out Mona is an honorific, meaning madam, so it's Madam Lisa. Now, relatively recently, historians have figured out who she actually is, and they found out that she's married to a Florentine merchant, Francesco del Giocondo. So that makes her Lisa del Gioconda, and that explains the alternative title of the work, La Gioconda. Now, the reason she has her arms crossed and is a little bit chubby is because she's pregnant. In fact, you can kind of see that she's wearing a veil, and that particular type of veil was worn by pregnant women at the time. Her husband commissioned the painting when Da Vinci was already well known, so it would have been very expensive, and that makes it very funny for a couple of reasons. One, it was never handed over to the family. Instead, Leo left it in his will to his apprentice. And two, because for a couple of hundred years, the prevailing theory was that she was not an aristocratic wife, but instead, a prostitute. Her hair being down and her almost absent eyebrows were common traits of working girls at the time. Anyway, why is this painting so famous? Well, Da Vinci was already pretty famous, and the painting got stolen. This became a very big news story, and her face suddenly started getting plastered on a whole bunch of newspapers and wanted posters, making her very recognizable. From there, she became the most famous painting, which is why she always looks so smug. Starry Night, Vincent Van...
I wonder if she was still alive at the time that it was stolen.
Oh.
So just imagine like walking down the street and then seeing your face on a poster like missing, but you're like, oh fuck, that's me.
Hold on. Let's Google it. When was the Mona Lisa stolen? Oh, she was long dead.
Okay.
That's over 500 years later after the painting was made.
Fair enough.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I sure hope it does.
Painted while he was in the St. Paul de Musol Asylum. That's here. And this was the view from his bedroom window. Here is the real view a few decades later. He chose not to paint the metal bars. Now, you can see that there are 11 stars in the sky here. Supposedly, that's reference to Joseph from the Bible. Joseph, he had a hard life. The minivan, he had a hard life too. and he hoped that he would be remembered at least once he was gone, like Joseph. And you know what? It worked out for him because...
Yeah, he's pretty well known. I mean, arguably the most famous... Well, okay. I don't know about the most famous of all that, but he's up there. He's definitely in the top 5.
Everybody remembers Van Gogh, and nobody remembers the guys who bullied him and called him a ginger. Also, there's kind of a theory that he was killed by some kid. Go check out Wendigoon's channel for more information on that one. Ah, the birth of Venus.
Botticelli.
Let me tell you what's happening in this one. So, there's this lady, Venus. She is the goddess of beauty, and she is coming up out of the ocean in a big clam, right? Now, the clam is not a metaphor for her vagina.
No, it literally... the clam was impregnated by Poseidon.
It's that she is the perfect pearl. Get it? Now, these two here are a divine wind. They are blowing her like a hot spoonful of soup towards the shore. And she is carried all the way over to the beach. And this beach, by the way, is a real place called Paphos. It's in Cyprus. Here is what it looks like in real life. Now, when she arrives on the beach, a nymph shows up, which is this lady here, and she has a cloak, and she throws the cloak over Venus, and she says, "You know what? You're very special. One day they're gonna name a 4-blade razor after you." Arrangement in black and grey #1. Also
Whistler's
known
mother.
as Whistler's mother. Most famous for its appearance in the Mr. Bean movie.
Oh, yeah. And he fucking ruins it.
Now, when Whistler's mother originally agreed to be painted, she agreed to be painted standing up, but she had to pose for so long that eventually she got quite tired and had to sit down. Here you go.
God dang it, Internet. Damn it.
It's a good opportunity for me to throw an eye drop in my left eye since it's itching.
Arrangement in
Yeah, grab a tissue there real quick.
that eventually she got quite tired and had to sit down. Here you go. And that became the famous pose. The Garden of Earthly Delights. Alright, this one is probably my favorite because it looks like a Where's Waldo, and then the whole thing just goes completely off the rails.
Oh, wait.
Probably
Hold
my
on.
favorite because it looks like a Where's...
Can you spot Waldo? Where is he? There he is. Hey.
Damn. You found him fast.
I'm good at Where's Waldo.
Waldo, and then the whole thing just goes completely off the rails. So, Mr. Hieronymus, that's a name that's going to make a comeback,
Hieronymus.
is doing all of this cool surreal stuff about 500 years ago. So let's start on the left. Here is Adam and Eve,
Garden
and
of
the
Eden.
pre-incarnation of Jesus. And they are all hanging out in the Garden of Eden. Now what's going on in the middle bit? That's harder to explain. The best theory is either that this is Eden if people were allowed back into the garden, or if they had never left in the first place, or if man had not committed original sin. But look at the size of that strawberry. Oh, here he is. Then on the right-hand panel is hell.
Damn it.
Or at least a very bad time. This is where Oddlaw would end up, that son of a bitch. Right, now, here's the interesting bit. It's not painted on a typical canvas. It's actually a sort of cabinet thing
A triptych.
with 3 panels called a triptych.
Yeah.
And the neat thing is, if you close the doors, more painting. That is the earth, and that is the firmament. A perfect balance between flat earth and globe theory. A Sunday afternoon on the island of Lagrange.
Zerat. Yeah.
This thing is pretty big, and here's the real-life place it was painted after. Although they've beautified it even more with the office building at the back. What you may not know is that it is actually a sequel. First, George Seurat painted the left bank, and that's where all the working class sit. You see these guys, they, have a bit less money and stuff. Gross! And then this is the one that you all know, and that is on the right-hand bank. And all these people are a very bougie sort. That
Fancy,
is
one might
Scrappy
say.
Doo. And that,
No.
that's a monkey. The Last Supper. Okay, so
Then
the
she
scene is this.
returns.
All the disciples are gathered around, and this is the exact moment that Jesus declares, hey, by the way, I know one of you betrayed me. And this is everyone's shocked reaction to the news. Except there's one guy who's just pretending to be shocked. And here is who everyone is.
Whoa, who could that be?
Yeah.
I thought this was Mary, by the way. Turns out that's John. Very progressive. And that's all of the paintings, and no one has attempted one since.
Truth.
And I wake up.
Because of them
Flip the
freaking
Nord
$350
Mariana Strange.
paintbrushes.
The other way,
Oh god, Nordman has returned.
3 pyramids.
Also,
not
those
much time. I gotta log-
$350 paintbrushes might explain why I've never been able to properly use a paintbrush.
You don't need $350 paintbrush in order to paint.
Every one I've tried, I felt like I couldn't control to help me to save my life, pretty much. Paintbrushes feel like the hardest freaking thing to use properly.
I hear you.
Log into NordVPN so the corporations can't track me. Marketing companies gang stalking me, listening to me through the walls. We found the death note. Wake up again. I don't have much time. The feds are at my door. Open up. I refuse to take my Nordmill pills. I wake up again. The demon in the corner of my room wants to access my NordVPN. I let him, because I can use it on up to 6 different devices. Thanks, Nordman. I know the corporations are building profiles on me. I go to Facebook. I go to Wikipedia. Then suddenly, I'm getting ads for feet on my Facebook. Big feet, big foot, big farmer. On Tuesday, I saw a red car. Coincidence? Huge deal on a 2-year plan plus 4 bonus months. 4 sides to a triangle. Coincidence? There's a guy reacting to my life in the corner right now. 30-day money-back guarantee.
Hey, we're not in the corner, but we're instead above you, looking down on you, just like... Hold on, let me see if I can do the... What? Oh, wrong way. I fucked it up.
My hand ran off. Yeah, I was trying to do like the pet thing.
Oh, yeah. Trying to get recentered.
Pets for incognito mode.
There we go. Perfect.
What's the goddamn catch? Time's going faster than usual, and only a limited time to get a great deal on a 2-year plan. I wake up again. It's the perfect Christmas present. Who are you? Wait a minute. My family died in a suspicious house fire. Skinwalker in my house. Changed location to Finland. Different regions have different prices on plane tickets and hotels. That ain't even a conspiracy. I take more microplastics so I can see through the ether.
Pizza time.
But they're too late. I click Hyperborea and I am untouchable. If you understood anything that happened in this ad, go to nordvpn.com/incognito to get a huge deal on a 2-year plan plus 4 bonus months. Ad over. Alright, so this one is about how to spot a fake painting. I quite like this section, but it kind of got bogged down by all of its technical information, and it went quite long. So, here it is, for the discerning audience. How to spot a fake painting. Glug, glug, glug. Oh my god. Is that a real Michelangelo? We're here now. Quick hypothetical lower tax brackets. If paintings like this one or this one go for literally gajillions of dollars, that's USD, then what's to stop someone from doing this? Then this, and then this, then this, and then saying it's real when it ain't. You know, faking a painting. Turns out, not much at all. In fact, it can be very difficult to tell these fake
Sorta
ass...
like, in a way, not quite, but freaking NFTs.
Yeah, basically. That's what I get from that.
Except for
Paintings.
NFTs are even dumber because it's so easy to just screenshot.
You ain't kidding.
From the ones that keep it real. There's a whole ass art to detecting these fakes, and it's become an arms race, where the authenticators find new ways of detecting, and the fakers find new ways to get around their methods.
Technology's advanced. Do you think that makes it harder to make good forgeries?
No, you can beat the forensics.
So, authentication. There are three main categories: provenance, connoisseurship, forensics. Let's start in alphabetical order. Provenance. Now, provenance follows the history of the painting, tracking down the previous sellers and the buyers, all the galleries that exhibited it, the hand-to-hand that it was passed through, all the way back to the original painter. However, the older the work, the harder it is, generally, to track the provenance. Take, for example, the most expensive painting ever sold, the Salvator Mundi, the final Da Vinci, sold in 2017 for $400 million, and it can only be traced back to 1958. Back then, it was sold for £45, but in the other 5
Whoever sold it back then got ripped off, didn't they?
100 years of its history, no one knew where this thing was. Even today, people still dispute whether it's genuine.
I think it's a real flim-flam.
And this is a made-up piece of junk.
I think it's fake art news.
Real in drag. Then it turns up in America? In New Orleans? Oh, I see.
I think we've wished this Da Vinci into existence.
Here's the lost Leonardo that somebody once mentioned in a book.
Provenance has gotten a lot easier over time. You used to have to track down books and read catalogs and stuff, but now it's all online. Control plus F, there it is. So you see, kid, there's nothing online. Nothing. Tell me who you bought this from, you son of a bitch. Where did you get this? Tell me the name of the auction house that sold you it. Connoisseurship. Look at the work. Do you believe what you are seeing? How does it look? How does it taste? Are these ballpoint pen strokes those of a master artist? Luckily, there are people like Martin Kemp, who spend their whole careers focusing on single artists.
I've been dealing with Leonardo for, I suppose, about 50 years.
They can pick out the fakes. So, for example, when he was looking at La Bella Principessa, he went, yep, he uses the Trois Crayons. He's a left-handed artist. The proportions of the head and the face are all correct. You know what? I'm going to give this a big rubber stamp right there in the middle of the painting. Confirmed. So, for the fakers, they have to have a keen understanding of who they are copying. One of the best fakers, Almir de Hore, for example, mastered the brushstrokes of artists such as Matisse, Modigliani, and Renoir so well that hundreds of museums are currently in possession of his works without even knowing it. Yes, well, Michelangelo was famous for his Cangiante painting techniques, and I can't see any of that here. You're 0 for 2, kid. You're going down. Forensics. This thing's going straight to the lab. You're about to have a paint brush up with the law. Masterpiece? More like you're a real masterpiece of shit, kid.
Well, the fact that he's got the kid down, he's got his knee in the middle of his back like he's going to arrest the kid.
Alright, now the people that solve murders have really changed the game when it comes to art forgeries by implementing radiocarbon dating. Radiocarbon dating. Carbon dating? Yeah, but it's not serious. Listen, you're made out of carbon, I'm made out of carbon. Paintings are made out of carbon. And when a thing is made out of carbon, there are these unusual isotopes of carbon-14, right? They're floating all throughout the air and the atmosphere. Now, all living things contain a trace of them. They are taken in when something eats, breathes, anything else, and that happens continuously throughout the life cycle. However, when the organism dies, it stops taking in new carbon, right? Which means it stops taking in new carbon-14.
Yes.
Same thing happens to a painting. You've stopped putting paint on the thing, no more carbon. Carbon-14 is an unstable isotope, and it decays at a very steady rate. Poof. It turns into nitrogen-14 and a beta particle. Beta! And because these carbon-14 atoms decay at a very steady rate, in principle, you can look at the proportional number of carbon-14 atoms and determine how old something is. More carbon-14, newer painting. Less carbon-14, older painting. In 1985, using this technique, they caught a guy, Robert Trotter, who forged a Sarah Hon painting. Ah, far too many carbon-14 atoms. Lock 'em up, boys. But there are even simpler methods of testing the age of a pigment. 3 Jackson Pollock paintings were found to be fake when it was determined that the pigments on the canvas weren't sold until the 1960s. But Pollock was dead by 1956.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there are huge pigment libraries that can be easily cross-referenced. So that shows the year a pigment was first introduced and what year it stopped being used. For example, anything that has titanium white has to have been produced in the last 80 years. I'm going to be honest with you, kid. Michelangelo never used the yellow Crayola. X-rays. Now, you can blast this thing with some radiation and look behind the painting to see what's underneath. For example, did the artist do a sketch first? Maybe this is painted over something else. If you look behind the Mona Lisa, you can actually see that she had a much larger head once. Although
that looks weird.
But maybe it just shrunk with age. And you can see that veil much more easily. Also, if you x-ray even further, you can see her fully formed skeleton.
I call bullshit, but still pretty funny.
The art forgers of today are a wily bunch. Forgers can source old canvases from the correct period. They can use error-matching pigments. Even the carbon dating can be a bit unreliable. Heck, even the x-rays can be bullshitted, as forgers take into account that their work will be x-rayed, as they do a sort of fake painting or sketch first, and then paint the next version on top. Alright kid, I'll give you $20,000 for this, or a shiny new bottle of Ritalin. Works every time.
Jesus.
This section is about Shakespeare. Wow, that would make so much sense for it to be in the theatre video on the main channel. This dude showed up and changed the game. Shakespeare. Here's the thing though. We basically know nothing about him. First, we don't know what he looked like. There are 2 best guesses.
Really?
One is from this engraving on a first folio. But that wasn't put together until 7 years after he was already dead. One of his peers, Ben Jonson, knew him though and said, yeah, it's pretty close. So maybe. The second is a bust that was made for his grave. There are a bunch of others, but they weren't commissioned by Shakespeare himself. They weren't done while he was alive, and he didn't exactly stop to pose for them. But these are the ones we most recognize him by. This includes Chandos, which is probably the most recognizable. So this could be him, or this could be some completely other dude, or it could be an idealized version. Now, we also don't know exactly when he was born, or when he died, or how he died. His birthday is celebrated on the 23rd of April.
And he died on his birthday too.
But there's no record of that. And then he died on the 23rd of April as well. So he died on his birthday? Odd coincidence. But we know that he did marry a lady named Anne Hathaway. Yes, same as Catwoman, but this one was the original. We also don't even really know how to spell his name. There are tons of different signatures by him, but they're practically all spelled differently. And let's not even get started on the conspiracies of whether or not he
makes
really
me feel
wrote
better about the fact that I'm pretty sure I've misspelled his name a number of times back in school.
Yeah.
The The son of 2 illiterate parents from a lower-class neighborhood, suddenly becoming the world's greatest playwright? Bit suspicious. Also...
you can chalk that up to him, like, having the desire to learn the language.
Whether he was gay, or worse, whether he was foreign, or what the hell is going on with his grave. So if you go to the Holy Trinity Church in Stratford, there is his grave. There he lays. But there is an engraving above him. Blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be he who moves my bones. Cursed, you see. You're not allowed to dig him up. So everyone is super spooked out by the curse, and they refuse to dig him up. So archaeologists instead have done radar scans. Turns out, his head is missing. He was grave robbed in 1794. So we can't even reconstruct him that way. And they won't open it up for DNA tests.
Oh, man.
So it's likely that we will never know the truth.
Of course. Netflix. Yeah.
The government is hiding something. The point is, Shakespeare stole a theatre at one point. Okay, quick Shakespeare moment. In 1599, Shakespeare was working as a playwright with his acting troupe called the Lord Chamberlain's Men. Now, they were leasing out a theatre in Shoreditch called The Theatre. Creative name. Anyway, they had a disagreement with the landlord, Giles Allen. Giles revoked their lease. Shakespeare and the Chamberlain's Men were not very happy about that, but they had no option but to walk away. But a few days later, in the dead of night, they came back. Now, the group met up just outside the theatre, and they had bribed the watchmen to look the other way. Then, with daggers and tools in hand, they broke into the theatre. Now, they weren't there to kill Giles, and they weren't there to steal stuff from the theatre. No. They were there to rob the theatre. They tore down the entire building, piece by piece.
Holy
and they started
shit.
carting it away to a warehouse.
What the fuck?
From there, they ferried it across the Thames and over to Southwark. With the materials that they stole, they constructed the Globe Theatre. And there
That's pretty baller.
I've never heard about this.
That's awesome.
for the next 14 years until it burnt down. It was a performance of Henry VIII, and a prop cannon was involved. Don't worry about that. But then it was rebuilt. But then in 1642 it was shut down again. But in 1997, a recreation of the Globe Theatre was made once more, and in London you can visit it today, as long as you can avoid being stabbed.
Excuse
I hate
bruv.
to laugh about that, but yeah.
Excuse bruv. We're gonna head down to the pub. You wanna come along? Yeah, sure thing, bruv. Let me grab my vest real quick. It's like, bruv, what you got your vest for? It's like, alright, step outside. Alright. Alright, bruv, I think I'm gonna wear a vest from now on. That's right, I told you.
Best to put it on now since you're full of holes. It'll keep you from leaking as much.
Yeah.
And now for the best section of all.
Come on, people, we're ready to shoot. Where's the pizza box with the hole in it?
Oh. Never mind.
That's my
I
dick
gotta
in a
go.
box.
Catch you soon. Don't forget NordVPN.
Damn. Well?
So didn't Shakespeare write the play with Horatio? Like Last Lord Horatio?
Yeah, that was Hamlet.
Maybe he donated his skull to those who would continue to put on Hamlet after his death to be used
Oh
as
my
the skull
God.
for that bit of the play.
I would love to know where Shakespeare's head is. Or if it's even possible for his head to still be around. I would say if it's not been preserved, it's probably dust by now. What do you think?
Don't know. I don't know if bones just disintegrate eventually like that if they're just left out in the air.
Well, I don't know. But damn. Okay, so even fancier paintings. This is a good one, man. I'm glad the internet historian is stepping his game up and is basically not only releasing more on the regular channel, but also on the incognito mode channel as well. Dude, just keep doing what you're doing, Internet Historian.
This might have been why he was on a break for so long. As it wasn't that he was on a break, it's just he's been working on this series and he didn't want to start releasing it until he was about done with it,
Yeah, didn't want until it was ready.
Because he wanted to release it close together so everybody didn't forget about the last part of it before he had the next part out, maybe.
Yeah, I get you. Alright, well, anyway, I guess that's
Which I think is what series like Murder Drones would be benefit from, with my memory at least. I know they probably can't afford to do that, but would have been legit if they released a little closer together, like had to finish some of them before they started the releasing them,
Yeah, true. Anyway, I don't got anything else to say. All I gotta say is this was really good. Internet Historian delivers as always funny, and I guess yeah. Until next time, everyone. Signing off. I'm Nate.
I am Nick.
Y'all be good people. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.